Ascension Center in Hawaii and our counseling and what all we do. And I'm telling you that we are recording this because I always get that snag thing up here on the recording. But we're recording this so we can use this with Aquarian Radio for Ascension Center Network and what all we're going to be doing in January 2020. And I also don't know if you looked into. Let me did I send you the conversation? You may see some things there about what all we're going to be doing, but I thought you may want to start. Did you see that? Did you see that Vatican?
I didn't get to see it, no. If I click on it, will it kick me off? I'll click on it and see what it says. It's a link to
not go Vatican. To basically with the Space Force. I don't know if it's real or not, but the fact, I don't know the guy, but he's getting a lot of hits on it. But the story, we'll have to.
Let me read it. Okay, so this is before it's news. We don't know who the author is. No author listed. It says the Vatican last week issued an ominous warning to besieged American President Donald J. Trump. Do not go to Nibiru. All you will find there is death, according to a White House source who claims Trump received a message from a Vatican emissary who arrived in Washington early Friday afternoon. So this is January 21st. Was Trump back from, what day is 21st? Trump was in Switzerland for a few days. We can kind of correlate this story. Was he even here? Right? So that will, let me see. January 21st. That was that was the day that the impeachment hearing started. So I don't know if this is real because Trump was in Switzerland at that time. So there's a mystery. We don't know exactly. Let's see. Okay. Although January 21st, let me look at the calendar, was a Tuesday, and they claim they arrived on Friday. So which Friday? Well, written January 21st. So I guess they're saying they came on the 17th of January. Okay. So the message was delivered in a letter authored by Pope Francis and the Vatican Secretary of State Pietro Parolin that directly referenced Trump's intent to send the U.S. Space Force on a fact-finding mission to the Nibiru system. Okay, so that would mean that they're validating all this Anunnaki information, and Dr. Lessin and I have been writing about the Anunnaki for many, many years. Worked with Zechariah Sitchin when we met back in the late 90s. Okay, as reported last week, Trump and his secretive Space Force have embarked on an ambitious plan that will see a reverse-engineered alien craft zoom to the dark star and its orbiting planet. Well, I thought they were just trying to get to Mars. We haven't been to the moon since early 70s. So what do you think about all that so far, TJ? Are you there? Am I there?
Oh, can you hear me? I haven't researched. I haven't researched it. Let me turn
this
off.
What do you think about so far, using your psychic abilities and intuition? Do you think this is true or not? To me,
there's always a little truth. It's always smoke and fire, but we don't know. I can only report when we do our sources. All we can do is say it was on before it's news as a source, right? And I don't know how much responsibility, because I write for them too. So there's a lot of good information to keep up with a lot of friends of ours in our businesses, but you and I do Ascension Center Network, and people call it Ascension Age now because we do not really familiarize with the new age, body, mind, spirit.
Let's stay on this article until we finish it, okay? And then we'll go into the other stuff.
Well, you're breaking
I just wanted to.
I don't know why you're breaking up.
I'm breaking up.
There's some. I don't know if it's your.
I don't.
But
Okay, let me try a different connection. Do you want to read more of the article while I get the other connection?
Oh,
Do you want to read the article?
Well, I can if you want to.
Yeah, let's.
I don't know if you reading it is causing you to break up.
No, I think I'm going to go back to my cell phone. I usually do Skype on the cell phone, and I think I can just join the call. I'm going to switch to that. It'll take me a minute here. I've been trying a new system where I don't have to hold a cell phone to my head or put earphones on.
All right. Well,
just give me one.
You do that.
Keep reading.
The stated goal is to determine why the dreadful celestial interloper has apparently stalled in space and not yet reached pedigree. Now, what does that mean? Let's see. As a report last week, Trump and his secretive Space Force have embarked on an ambitious plan that will see a reverse-engineered alien craft zoom to the dark star and its orbiting planets. So the message was delivered in a letter authored by Pope Francis and Vatican Secretary of State, Pietro Parolin. So, folks, we're just telling you this is news to us too. So anyway, since last week. So the stated goal, I said that, Vatican Jesuit spies implanted in the White House likely learned. This sounds really suspicious. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of getting really suspicious. But, it's interesting to deconstruct it because they put truth and fiction in all this stuff, right? It's always there's something true in it, and then it's like the remember the Men in Black,
right?
The Men in Black, and he ran to see what was happening at the National Enquirer, right? It was funny, but it's like there is truth mixed in that.
Like okay, so it's like the speakers, whether the speakers will. Are like in the impeachment. Yes, there's an impeachment going on. Is it mostly truth? Probably not. Both sides are trying to tell their truth and neither one matches. So it's like the Dems and the Republicans. We're always fighting with each other. That's more in the news than anything around, but then it always learned as an investigator, that's not the truth. What they tell the public, you got to go look behind the scenes and research everything firsthand, folks. But yes, it's going on, but we're not hearing the whole truth. And so that's sort of like reporting. And Janet and I have Ascension Center organization, and we've been doing network and writing versus reporting. But, in 2020, I want to do a little bit more research, investigations, and reporting on some of this stuff. And we have the ACO and the Ascension Center. I have the ACO Club. We have real press friends and real people that write. And a lot of people just put whatever they want on social media. And social media is free.
Well, just because it's out there on the internet does not mean it's true. But, you can go on this level, this human level. Like, is it true? Is it not true? And then you get into, this has been going on as long as I've been alive and way before that. When I was a child, my family used to argue all the little nuances of the Bible. There's always something to fight about. So where can you find unity consciousness? So what we're finding is that there is no the true. There's perspective. And we need to just move beyond all this battling and fighting and self and a parent other to what will work for all humanity, what will work for the planet, where can you move into kindness, love, consciousness, awareness, acceptance, tolerance, co-creation, resolving the issue, solving the problem, and finding answers, resolution. That's where it really is. The other stuff is just a bunch of words.
Let me add the rest of this too.
We didn't finish this. Yeah, where do we stop in this article?
Well, let me tell you. So, you and I are going to try to do own peace, but listen, folks, Trump passed the letter like I'm a bird on the, or what they call it, on the fence or something. Anyway, Trump passed the letter to VP Pence, directing, I guess they mean Vice President Pence, directing him to feed it into the shredder and unceremoniously banish the Vatican agent from the White House, demanding that neither he nor any other Vatican official again set foot on White House soil. In quotes, the Vatican is a sore loser. They're losing big time. Our Space Force is really, really great. It's perfect, a perfect Space Force. Who does this guy think he is? The only foreign power I'll listen to is Benny, and in parentheses, his nickname for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, not some crooked guy in Rome, unquote. So Trump allegedly told Pence, who said that the president's linguistic tirade was an unacceptable measure of response to the Vatican interference. Not all the president's men, however, were ebullient at Trump's sapial disavowal of Roman authority. Well, somebody knows some big words. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
Ebullient, and sapient disavow of Roman authority. So who speaks like that?
I don't know. Yeah. The Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, urged caution, saying war with Rome might fracture America's relationship with its allies. Trump responded with a dismissive wave of the hand, saying, I'm the president. I make the decisions. I don't care if we have to send 100 ships. We're going to learn. We're going to learn the truth about this Nibiru. Now, that's the story, folks, and I think the perfect to talk about this is Janet Carroll Lessin of Hawaii, because she's right. She and her husband have been writing Nibiru Anunnaki books for years, and I listen to a lot of YouTubes about Akkadian language and fire clay tablets and the oldest languages, that we've got, because I love ancient history, and my whole company of my books writing is about ancient wisdom and new thought teachings. And if you want to get involved with me, I have a book out there called Knowing Cosmology. So that's, and then under that, I think it says Ascension Age. So I promote Ascension Age.
Well, let me respond to what you were saying about, okay, first of all, now I have a correlation that we've gone to Nibiru, I have a couple, okay? Let's see, and this is also controversial. John Titor II, there was John Titor, however you pronounce it, I say Titor. He came on my show and he says that the Phoenix Lights starship is an interstellar starship, and they took that to Nibiru, and that's called, I think, a TR-11 or something. So they have the TR-3B and the TR-11, or is it SR-11? I'm not real good at military terms. If it's fresh in my mind, I can remember it, but 6 months down the line, forget it. A year, forget it. It's not gone into my long-term memory. But anyway, so he said that they went to Nibiru. Yes, he said that you have to be invited. You can't just go. Their technology is way beyond ours. But since we've, reverse engineered some craft that was given to us by there's 5 species that have treaties with the U.S. that are the main ones. There are many, many species that are coming and going from the Earth. But the 5 are the tall whites, the Anunnaki, the Greys, reptilians, and I forget. Let's see, that's only 4. I have to find out. Maybe it was just 4. Maybe it's just 4. Anyway, so they have some of this technology to get there, but the other species that are working with us are not giving 100% of everything. So the rest is left to us to reverse engineer. So it is saying here, as reported last week, Trump and his secretive Space Force have embarked on an ambitious plan that will see a reverse engineered alien craft zoom to the dark star and its orbiting planet. So they were saying when this was announced that this was Trump's way of bringing out technology that already exists. And so there's Titor, who said he's been on this reverse engineered alien craft and it can go all the way to Nibiru and the orbiting planets. And Titor also says that we already have 2 colonies outside of our solar system, not way far away, but outside the solar system. And they've been sending a lot of our scientists and young people there, especially those who can breed, breeders, are sending breeders and brilliant minds to colonize those planets because they think that this one's not going to make it past 2050. So we only have 30 years to live, according to that story. And these are just stories. I can't prove a damn thing. I can't even prove I'm alive and talking on this radio. But so that's it. And the second thing that correlates with this story, I mean, one wants to just dismiss it or accept parts of it. But we've received reports that the Vatican knows, they have secret writings, they have Homo capensis working in the Vatican, which are apparently Anunnaki, the large-headed species, Homo capensis. Maybe they're a hybrid or something. They have the large skulls, which we're finding the skeletons all over the place, especially in South America, but they're all over. And so there's a correlation. Another correlation, then I'll pass the talking stick back to you, TJ, is that I have dreams that I go to in the beer room. And let's see, the first, all you will find there is death. Do not go to the beer room. So I'm not sure if that means that the planet is dead, that they will be encountered and killed. That's not a real clear statement, what they mean by all you will find there is death. But there are a lot of ruins. There's a part of the planet that has a population, but when I go, it's like I'm going on an archaeological dig, and I go to these ancient ruins on the planet there and explore them and analyze them. And so I've seen the ruins. And I've walked around in their culture, but I think it's like remote viewing, right? It's not my 3D self. I'm going there in a remote form. So anyway, I've seen a lot of it, and yeah, there's life there, and there's a lot of the planet that's been abandoned, which correlates with the Anunnaki Sumerian story. Okay, your turn. What else would you like to say about this?
Well, like the Ascension Age, I wrote something on Before It's News too about the Ascension Age awakening, but I'll have to go find it and see what you think of that, because that's about us. I got to pull down my Lineable and my LinkedIn. I saw Mitchell Buck write something, but let me see. Ascension Age awakening. Let me see if I can find it by just typing it in. You know, the internet's changing so much. And folks, I am doing my best to get as smart as I can soon. Let's see. There's so much out there. Oh my gosh, so much ascension and awakening together, and it's not mine. And I used to be on the top. Me and Janet stopped doing Ascension Age stuff. Not really, not in our minds, but because she did an event in 2018. Or was, yeah, it was 2018. We're already in 2020. It
October.
Sounds funny. I know.
It sounds like a long time ago, but yeah, we did. You weren't able to make it because your daughter was dying.
Right.
And had I had more help, I got very sick. I almost died. I came home and I almost died. I was like facing that. You know, it's really weird when you're like, oh, is this it? Am I gonna die now? You know. But I made it. I'm still here. But your daughter did die, so that was very surreal. I felt like I was dying, and she actually did it. So I guess dying is like being born. What article do you want to look at next? Are we done with that article? Or any more comments on that article?
Teresa, I'm saying Teresa.
Send me the link. Send me the link. Send me the link in the.
I'm trying to send these to us. I had some people call me today, and they're real interested in our work, and they want to help us, and I'm excited about that. And then I'm going to talk to some other people that are helping all of us radio hosts. And, you know, it's not just about showing up and sharing who you are in radio, but everybody has an opinion, right? But there's some printouts if you want to click any of those. And
I just one topic at a time.
Well,
you do the same thing my husband does. You throw 20 things at me, and I like to do one thing at a time. Are we finished with the Vatican article? Did you have anything else to say on the Vatican article before we go to the next topic?
I don't know if any of it's true. I just thought it'd be good. I wanted to get to.
Okay, so that's your opinion. Yes.
Yeah.
So your conclusion is you don't know if any of it's true, and you need more information.
Right. But I do know what I wrote. Okay. So, as a writer, and I think you should be writing because we need to be.
Where is your article?
I just sent the whole list to you.
No, it's too much for me to grab. It's just
everybody
get the actual.
Today. They won't even hit a link these days. This is getting crazy.
Yeah, you got to hit a link because it's too much. It's not going to take you to the right place. It's just before it's news, and it's like it's not going to take me to the actual article. All you have to do is navigate to your article, and
let's see if I can
go up to the navigation bar when you're on the article, and it'll give you the link. Otherwise, I don't know where to go.
All right. Well, I've got
let's see.
Right. Folks, this weekend we're having Janet's going to shoot me, but the 25th down here, go to Milton, Florida this weekend if you don't have anything to do, and meet us at the Body, Mind, Spirit event in Milton. So there, I got that out of the way. But just a minute, Janet.
Yeah, that's okay.
I went to Before It's News and put my name in, and because I had everything pulled up, I shut it down because I thought my computer was messing your speech up. But I wanted to do Ascension Age Awakening, but I don't know.
No, I can't. It's just stringing me to the. Okay, let's see if I can pull up. Are you going by Teresa J. Morris?
They say
I'll try that.
Messenger. So follow there. Oh, wow, this is a long time ago. I did this one on, but people are right about the Ascension Age and what we're dealing with in now 2020 to 2050. But I've been a writer for a long time and an author and a publisher. It's just I never cared to talk about all the stuff that I guess I've been helping people with events.
No, I'm just pulling up the old stuff. I'm not getting the new stuff. So, all right, so that was good. I like doing an article and then talking about it. That's what they do a lot on the television. They have people talking and then they do their commentaries about it, and that works. You're allowed to do that. People do reviews of music. There's these young kids that are reviewing the music of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then they react to it because they've never heard it before, So they're commenting on us old folks and the generations before. See, I don't know what you want me to go. I like that. Let's find another article to talk about. That was fun.
All right. Well,
Pardon?
It's so hard to keep you entertained these days. You do realize we're on the air, right?
No. We're on the air and we're talking like we're having a conversation.
Problems of QAnon.
See, I can't pull up from that thing you left me.
Okay,
I can't pull up anything. Send me another article. Come on.
All right. Well, let me find Ascension Age Awakening because I've got QAnon, but let me look. Let's see. Beyond science. I know we got to set up our own articles, Janet. We'll read our own articles, what we write, but at least we know what we're writing.
Okay, we can do that.
Anonymous Our Moon. Something impossible is happening there. Jeffrey wrote that. Let me
send me the article, and I'll make a commentary on it based totally on my opinion.
A Florida Fleet.
Well, see, what's interesting about life is we all have opinions. Like while you're looking for an article, I'll just talk about crap. I had some people here wanting to create conscious communities. So back in the 60s, we had communes, and then we moved into eco villages, right? So I had 3 people wanting to do an eco village, and it was me and my husband, and I have a worker friend that lives on the property, and so there were 6 of us, and it was just so interesting how we would agree on some things, and we didn't get into any arguments. It seemed like we were all on the same page, and then the next day it all fell apart and everybody left. I don't know. I know like Bridget wants to do these communities, and I've been playing with community, and these communities can be in person, right, or they can be virtual on the internet. And it seems like it's really hard to get everybody on the same page because it's like the elephant in the room phenomenon. Everyone has a different perspective of the same incident, but it just depends on what part of the elephant you're holding. So that's what I encountered yesterday, and it still never ceases to shock me because I think we're all in agreement, right? And you go to bed, and by the next morning, the one guy who stayed overnight, I woke up, he was gone, and he just left like a Dear John letter, and he told me all these things about how we're going to do this community, and I spent like 2 days on this, right? So anyway, and then 2 days going, where are you? Where are you? And I'm trying to get this, because I'm trying to get my house repaired, and my roof is leaking. Right now I have a roofer, and I have like a $20,000 or $30,000 bill because we're doing parts of it, which you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to do the whole thing all at once, but it's like, yeah. So anyway, that's what I've been dealing with. So did you find the article?
Well, I have Ascension Age Awakening, but when I hit it, it goes to that guy. Somehow it says search for Ascension Age Awakening because people are wanting to know this, and then Google Ascension. I guess we're going to have to go to your ascensioncenter.net, but I didn't put it on there. All right, well, that's ridiculous. It was there, and now my computer keeps referring me back to the last one I was on, so I can't get there with, I guess, Skype pulled up. But it's there's some other people.
Guess what's happening today? The big news today, besides the impeachment, is Star Trek Picard premieres.
Oh, yay!
And it's probably already playing. Let's see what we can find about Star Trek Picard.
Is that the TV show or the movie?
I already saw. It's a movie, and it premiered on CBS All Access. So they're making. Here, let me read about it.
January 23rd.
You can keep looking.
Day. Go ahead. Star Trek.
Okay, let me pull this up. Only on CBS All Access. My computer's deciding to be slow, so I'll read this. This is so we can both tell our start. Oh no, it's just launching something. No, I don't want to launch it. I want to have
Star Trek
information
Picard,
about it.
Yeah. How about that TV release date? So it is Picard Star Trek TV series is released today, and you see, guys, you can go look at it. It's 1 hour ago. It says fans of Star Trek: The Next Generation take heart. Patrick Stewart is returning to Star Trek universe after nearly 2 decades. He was my favorite. I mean, I love William Shatner. Don't get me wrong, folks. He'll always be. But you know, we Star Trekkers, I like the girl too. God, I like all of them. But out of all of them, I would have to go with this guy. I don't know why. Patrick Stewart, to me, I know he's gay. Oops, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but he is.
No, I think he's openly gay, but in this series, what I've seen lately is that a lot of the shows I'm watching, and they're from all over the world. There's Australian shows, there's British shows. They have a lot of people exploring their sexuality.
Yeah,
some are trying to identify if they're cisgender, which is I found out what that meant. It means you're the gender you were born. What's that?
Have you seen the little girl Jazz that just had her operation? She just graduated high school and going into college. But she
had her operation.
Yeah, it's been going on TV. I follow it on the show. But that's very different than what they usually talk about here on Revolution. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go back to Star Trek Picard. I found Picard, and so there's a lot of controversy over this. They're wondering if they still have the audience that they once had. It says Picard knows Star Trek is a hard sell in 2020. The show is asking the right questions, but might not have the best answers. So meet Jean-Luc Picard, Space Dad. He was for 178 episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation and 4 theatrical films, the captain of the Starship Enterprise, an inherently trustworthy father figure who pushed everyone around him to be more noble, understanding, and empathetic. 18 years after his last appearance in the movie Star Trek Nemesis, Picard is back in Star Trek Picard, a CBS all-access show that plays surprisingly well for people who have not yet seen a moment of Star Trek, as well as longtime fans. Star Trek Picard is trying to go somewhere new. Shockingly, it seems a little bit nervous about it. I have to send you this link. Hold on one second while I do that. 1 second. Oh, I gotta navigate through these screens. Gotta put it in the chat. Okay, you can maybe move it into the big chat so people can follow along. Okay.
I like now. Not everybody on Revolution watches TV, and that's fine because nowadays we're all tuning into YouTube, and I watch a lot of YouTubes every day. So
I do too. I watch every night I watch. I have queued up I've queued up about 5 or 6 shows on Netflix, about 5 or 6 shows on Hulu, and that keeps. I don't have any other TV.
I have Hulu
I don't
and
have TV sets. Yeah, and I go back and forth to those. This is CBS, so I'm going to buy another one. But you can buy it, and then when it's over, turn it off. You can turn off Hulu, you can turn off Netflix, and you can get CBS, and you can turn it off, and they stop charging you. So you can rotate through. Yeah. So let me go back to the article. Okay, so this is exciting.
All right.
What's that?
Oh my gosh. I turned on the oh my gosh, this is awesome. I'm watching this. It's like I'm watching it in 3D. I don't know, but I'm watching it in something really awesome. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh.
No.
Wait till you see
Okay, I'll watch it later.
Star Trek Picard. I'm watching the trailer. Oh wow. If it's like this is going to be awesome. This is eye candy for people that love space.
Good.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Janet, I found it
tonight for dinner. So I don't want to know the answer, but tonight over dinner time, Sasha and I gather around my big screen computer. I don't even have a TV, and we will watch this. So don't give me spoilers.
Can I get it on MediaCom? Right, Picard, play your favorites.
No, you're gonna have to buy CBS Access, and you can binge watch it, and you can probably pay just $10 and binge watch it all and have it done. Then you can turn it off again.
Okay, here's what we got, folks. CBS All Access, and it says you're just 3 quick steps away from streaming. First, pick your plan. You know, most of us TV watchers never learned what streaming is. What is streaming, Janet? Look up the definition while I say this stuff.
I don't want to navigate limited commercial, too much, but anyway, you can choose it. I just chose 1 month, and you get the first 2 weeks for free, first week for free. So you theoretically could watch it and binge watch and have it done, and have only paid $10, and you have all the episodes. Okay, so anyway, that's what I do.
It's $9.99.
I'm an old retired person.
They're charging me $5 extra a month not to pay for commercials. So for just to watch TV these days, roughly $5.99 a month is sort of the thing. So it's limited commercials.
That's full commercials.
You know, and then commercial free is 1 week $9.99 a month. Now, you can save 15% for an annual plan if you got that kind of money. So that would be 6 times 60, $72 a month with limited commercial. I mean, a year.
No. But it's not a month. It's not a month. But that's for the whole year. But I'm only going to do 1 month for $10, $9.99. That's all I need because I'm only going to binge watch Star Trek on CBS, right? Okay, so let me just tell you.
That's how we got all
Star Trek. Yeah.
All right.
So this Star Trek Picard takes place 18 years after the events of Star Trek Nemesis, the final film starring the crew of the Next Generation, and several years after Jean-Luc Picard has retired to his family vineyard. The retirement, we learn, was not one he wanted, spurred by his superiors' handling of a cataclysmic disaster on Mars, the details of which are slowly fleshed out over the first few episodes. And so, anyway, Picard, the premier, wastes no time in getting Picard to leave that vineyard. And miles away, a young woman named Dahj, D-A-H-J, is pursued by assassins for reasons unknown, but two things become clear. There's something very special about her, and Jean-Luc Picard is the only man who can help her. So she quickly makes her way to his doorstep, and the adventure begins. So there's several more paragraphs. Do you want to read two paragraphs, or do you want to make a comment?
Go ahead.
I sent you the link. You want to pull that up?
Not really. You go ahead. I'll listen to you.
Okay. Okay, Picard is a mystery on two fronts. One set in the recent past, peeling back the layers of what went wrong on Mars, and another in the present, revolving around Daj's identity. The show heavily implies that these two mysteries are actually connected, and Picard is somehow at the center of both. The show is careful to take care of new viewers, while knowledge of the next generation will certainly help you understand the significance of plot twists sooner. Nothing important is left unexplained, to the point where the show feels like it has a little too much set up, stopping dead in its tracks after a very good premiere to meander for 2 episodes before doing some actual Star Trekking. excuse me. CBS made the first 3 episodes available to critics, so it's already got critic things out there. There's all these review shows you can catch on YouTube. Anyway, so back to what I'm reading. Star Trek is a franchise unusually concerned with ideals and ideas, and Picard gestures at compelling ones. What if Starfleet, the peacekeeping navy of the nigh utopian United Federation of Planets, has suffered a slow decay that prioritized playing politics over valuing life? What if, even in a world where humanity has learned to cooperate and build a bright future, the slow side to fascism is never really that difficult to begin? Picard is extremely interested in examining how the idea of Star Trek must change to make sense in 2020, and using one of its most familiar and beloved faces to do it. See, now that is very interesting. They're reflecting 2020 America in Star Trek. And if you watch the original Star Trek back in the 1960s, a lot of their episodes reflected the politics of the time. So, and this is a good venue to make commentaries on our current politics. And then it helps you understand what's going on by having it happen in the future and, amongst aliens, right? You can say things about, humanity and life and existence that just won't go in, but when you put it in a different time frame, somehow it becomes more relevant, and people can get it. So okay, it goes on. But let's see. Do you have any comments on that before I continue?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Unfortunately, all these questions have an easy, cheap answer, and they are never far away in Picard. If the Federation has changed, maybe it's because it was compromised. If an alien race is treated with hostility, well, they are up to some shady stuff. And if an organization is ultimately oppressive, principled people who work within it are definitely not complicit. The good news is that even 3 episodes into a 10-episode season, Picard is still very much gearing up, and there's still plenty of room for the show to surprise viewers and choose the more difficult, complicated answers to the questions it poses. Giving the show the benefit of the doubt, however, feels too much like the hollow centrist play that Star Trek needs to move past if it truly wants to be resonant today. Because the upsetting truth about 2020 is that, when faced with certain disaster, there are people who will ultimately refuse to work together, who'd rather rule over ruins than labor towards an equitable future. Star Trek is a franchise that believes in institutions, and it's fascinating to see Picard acknowledge that institutions don't just fail. They can become co-opted entirely while still posturing as a force for the public good. The challenge of the show then echoes our real-world political challenge, being honest about why that happens. Whether or not it does that, Picard has a chance at being the most relevant Star Trek has ever been, just maybe not for the reasons it tends to be. Wow. So that's good. I mean, somebody needs to comment on the politics, and often you can't do it within the system, but from outside. What would the aliens think of us? what would a future society think of us? So that's kind of what they're doing here. They're taking, it's just very relevant that it's premiering as we're having a lot of challenges in our American society, which is the birthplace of Star Trek, America. And we're in the middle of all this impeachment stuff, which will probably last. I don't know. Well, there's one faction that's trying to just dismiss it and end it, and there's another faction that wants to get all the information out on the table and examine it. So, all right. So, what about Star Trek? What comments do you have about Star Trek, about Picard, about what I just said?
I don't know. I like anything to do with them, and we've got 61,000 hits on the What is Alien Contact. So I'm going to send this to you to follow up with Picard, because this is what I started doing with you years and years ago, and now.
Yeah, so send me the link.
But here, this has got almost 62,000.
Send me the link.
There, read that. See if.
Okay.
There's the chat. And we need to update this.
I want the link. I don't.
Just read it off of there.
It's too small to read.
Well, make your. All right. Well, let's see. Okay.
It's really hard to read. Send me the link. That's what I want. The link. Then it goes full screen.
It's so hard to work with. You are a prima donna. What do they call you?
I am a prima donna. No, I just can't see it, dear. I'm sorry. It gets real tiny in there. And that's why I got a big screen. I don't have my glasses on.
Women in the news. Women in the news. Here we go.
Women in the news.
There's What is Alien Contact, and we're going to do. I like science fiction stuff. How can we classify us, Janet? Other than
here it is. Now I can click on it. I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you how to fish.
Oh, you're teaching me.
Yeah, this is what you do. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so this is one that you wrote. It's September 20th. What is Alien Contact?
UFO Digest. It has UFO Digest.
Okay, but you wrote for UFO Digest, right?
I guess. I don't know. What does it say? Where are you?
It says, who is Theresa Jeanette Thurman Morris? That's what it says.
Well, is that what it says?
It must be written by you. That's what it says, unless you're meant to send me a different one.
Does it say?
Who is Theresa?
At the bottom.
Theresa Jeanette Thurman Morris, not the biography. We are who we've been waiting for regarding alien contact, and I am Theresa T.J. Morris, E.T. Contact.
I wrote that for Dirk. They reposted it years. That's a.
And I said, don't shoot the messenger. So what in the world is alien contact? Is it me? Making life happen on a regular basis is important to me and others I know do not live on this planet. Because I was chosen to raise awareness of the consciousness about those above, does this make me different? Am I so different than you are? What in the world is alien contact? So,
I was putting me out. See, I'm outed. I outed myself.
You're saying that you're a alien. You're an alien, or you're alien contactee. I mean, you wrote this in 2014. It seems, that's when you wrote it. Okay.
I was so politics 2012.
This is written by Dirk Vanderplank, or the archives are kept by Dirk Vanderplank. He's dead. In Info Digest. Okay. And it's still back then, you never told the entire biography for a reason. Let me see. I'm gonna go to the relevant parts because it's a long article. So you were talking about wake to the shift that's occurring on 12/21/12. So this is before,
Ascension Age began.
12/21/12. Yeah.
And then we renewed it January 11th, 2020. You and I did in 2020.
Right.
On this show, right? We did January 11th, 2020, I believe. Remember, we were like, Rena, you called out the date, but we're here. It's all on YouTube, folks. If anybody listens.
Okay. Basically, what we're saying is alien civilizations exist. that's the backstory of all humanoid sentient intelligent beings. And we're not from here.
No.
We have souls. We're just visiting this planet. And we are coming together in things that we call dimensions, levels, realms, and waves. And this is our free will and choice. And no matter where we incarnate in our different avatars, I'm kind of summarizing it. We want freedom and justice wherever we incarnate.
Nice.
And we want to be among our kind because we're social beings. We don't want to be lonely. We're not the lonely. Most even animals are social beings. I was just watching how a cat found a bear in a zoo, and the bear now has his own pet cat, right? So animals, even though they're different, they want to be with somebody or something and not be alone. So that's something that's not just human. Okay, so we develop a kindred spirit, keeper in all of us that allows us to know each other no matter how alone we feel. And feeling is emotion that's instilled in all humanoids that are sentient intelligent beings. The message I was sent here to share as my mission, and in part as a sole purpose, is about communication. Communication of what is good and right for the entire universe and even beyond, and it regards to cosmos beings. Now, what are you trying to communicate when you're talking about communication? What's the most important thing as an ET experiencer, contactee, and perhaps even an alien, which I know you're an alien, but
we're all aliens.
When you're the communications officer, you're like Uhura, right? What are you trying to communicate to
first contact?
Human.
What we do is first contact, not World War II. William Grant, Revolution Radio, World War III.
No, we're not talking about World War
we're not
III,
talking about
but I don't know if
you're in it.
You're in it.
No,
that's somebody on our Skype.
No,
we're keeping it back. We're using our alien self to, because if we were going to have World War III, we would have a long time ago.
I've got this
too many crazies that their hands on the. Remember how the UFOs were coming and shutting down the nukes, and they were resetting them, and where they were going to launch, having them launch back into our own cities if we launch it. I'm sure they did that in Russia and China and everybody. That's a trick the UFOs do, and they go, oh shit, we're going to launch this, and they're going to come right back into our city, so we won't launch it, and we don't want to kill ourselves. So okay, I don't think they're talking to us. I think they're talking. It's popping in on my screen though. The
mine
chat.
too.
Are you getting that?
Yeah, Willow Andreessen says, "Oh, we are. Doesn't have to be fought with something conventional, something."
Well,
no, it wasn't. I was live.
Yeah.
Willow was live, folks. If you're listening on Studio B.
I don't know what that means. So.
Yeah, television, sci-fi, fantasy.
So some people think we're already in World War III because it's not a nuclear exchange. It's a psychological warfare. We're using a lot of ways to enslave us, and that we're all slaves, and that there's a whole theory that there's a lot of us that are being, sent out. The ones that disappear, they're being sent to colonies. They're used as sex slaves and worker bees and military. We have our friend Russ Kellett that comes on. He used to have a show, and he tells us how he's in the secret space program, and he's in a part where he gets sent to other planets, and he's in these what do you call those, skeleton costumes that amplify your abilities, your muscular abilities, so he finds himself in the middle of these wars, and he's being led even by like a reptilian or something, and they're directing the battle, and he's like just one of the grunts, and he's got these sound weapons that blow people apart with sound, and they've got protective uniforms so they don't get blown apart by the sound weapons and yada yada yada. So, and he's one of many, many, many people, and a lot of it we've broadcast here on Revolution Radio, and they're in the archives. You can access the links from aquarianradio.com.
See if you can. You were maybe the day before delivery. However, Mitchell Buck.
That's not true. That's not true.
Maybe.
That's not true. No, that's a lie. Sorry.
There's a book. Ascension Lightworkers. See that? Can you see that? So that's
okay. So you want me to go to that book?
Yeah, go to
that.
Anything
else you want to say more, because we went.
What is a
This is an article you wrote. Before we go to the next one, I will do that next. What is alien contact? Let's complete that, because.
Well, we're not in World War III.
What was behind you? Yeah,
well, I know about what's.
Tell me what you mean by that.
I know what they mean. What I meant is
what do they mean?
We're dealing with the fact that what I'm about in communication is that, yes, we have some things going on inside the computers from America into India. Yes, I know all about it. And it's all about fighting with computers, not in the sky. But we're also up there in space, just like Nibiru and, the Anu and the NL and all the gods up there fighting for, their group. And they had the groups over there where we call Jerusalem and where they came down and all that. And they have observed the war even with Hitler. So, I haven't written that whole thing yet, but I know what I know. So the Lightworkers Guide, Ascension Lightworkers Guide, is to follow up on all that stuff. And I'm just getting started, folks. I just started in 2020. Now, I talked about cosmic inflation. I talked about Big Bang Theory and all that back before 2012. Way back to we go back into the dark energy, and we're helping people and to understand a lot, including photons and parallel universes. And I've been doing it for a long time with modeling of the universe.
So what is the source of your information? We always look for sources, like
experience.
So your experience. So you're coming out that you were in the secret space program, which is what I've been.
No, that's what you come with me.
Own it.
That's the way you want to.
You were in some kind of military that's off the grid military. I know
you
get offended by terms, but
yes,
I've been in the Space Force. Okay.
Since 1985. So there, I said it. So there.
Okay. Yay! Everybody applaud TJ. She said it. She's owning it.
Yeah, I said it. God, I can't believe it. All right, so Ascension Guide, and the communication is the golden age of cosmology, and how we deal with robots. How we deal with computers.
Abort your robo doc. I don't know what that means. But
yeah, robo.
That's William Grant. robo doc. Well, they had that was interesting in Voyager. They had the robo doc. He wasn't a robot though. He was a hologram, the holographic doc. Yeah. So
a hologram. Yeah.
Star Trek.
I've worked with holograms.
The hologram. Yeah. So
I worked with holograms. That was one of my hardest lessons. So Ascension Center, Science of Life, Awakening Consciousness Awareness. Okay. A body, mind, spirit.
Wait. I want to go back to you worked with holograms. Tell me what that was like. What happened? What do you mean you worked with holograms?
I work with holograms like for real. I mean, they're in 3 dimensions.
Can they grab like a surgical equipment and repair?
We had a window.
Wait, slow down. You're talking too fast.
All right, we have a window.
You're breaking up.
The spark of life that's created in us, okay, the soul part, we don't have that control in our cyborgs and in our virtual reality holograms. But we did learn how to do that back in the 80s, okay? So we were playing with all this and learning as avatars and Reiki healers and oracles and psychic mediums and spiritual advisors, seers, sages, shaman, all that. So I would think I would be a mage, M-A-G-E, in this game of life. So the Ascension Center Enlightenment was supposed to be dedicated to all the practitioners in the new worlds, what you would call first contact. So I became the founder and creator of the Ascension Center Enlightenment, sharing an alliance with all those that wanted to be chosen And I had people asking me 20, 30 years ago, well, how do you know if you're chosen to be added or not? They consider themselves light workers, okay? So there are now many people that join our ranks, and we have.
We're on a break now, TJ. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Talking to dead air, probably.
Okay. Added. Okay. Well, wait. You want to? How did you catch it? Are you? Somebody tell you?
Because I'm looking at the time. I'm looking at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, let
Paying
me.
attention to the watch.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad you're watching the time because I didn't even notice. Okay, that's. Let me go into Revolution Radio.
Space out. See if we're on a break. Which
Revolution Radio or freedomslips.coms, folks. If you can hear me, we'll be right back. You see. Shh.
Okay. We're trying to determine if we're on a break, which I think we are. Anyway, I'm going to put myself on mute because I'm going to go take a break. I'll be back in a few. So we'll see you after the break,
We're
okay?
definitely in the break, okay.